315. And remember, I'm in even a tighter spot than under the gun because the guy bought the button. Like I'm in sort of the equivalent to the natural big blind spot, like almost like a super under the gun, almost like being in the big blind with a button straddle. So I click it back to 315, goes fold, 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 and the guy's like, I'm all in. I'm like, all right, I call. And we play a $2,000 pot, which is equivalent to 400 big blinds, 200 big blinds each, and he quickly tables aces.
All right, cruising on in down Interstate 580 to Peppermill, listening to Bart Hansen on the Crush Live Poker Podcast. I liked how someone got into the comments recently and he said, like, I just love hearing Bart's voice at the top of the vlog. You know, I couldn't agree more. It's always great to hear it and to hear it again when putting these vlogs together. The best podcast you can find when it comes to poker strategy and the best videos you can get on a weekly basis to help fine-tune your live win rate. And you can get 25% off, not just for the rest of the year, but for as long as you're a subscriber, as long as you go through the link in the description below. We're going over to Peppermill right now. There was a list for a 5-10 game with the vacationing Mr. Z in town for a couple of more weeks from Florida. So I'm expecting some action, and let's make a vlog out of it. Vlog 336 would come on a week that featured skiing and golfing. The skiing would happen in North Star, California, and the golf at Eagle Valley in Carson City, where I'd shoot a disappointing 92, given the fact that it's the easiest course around. And given the fact that I didn't lose a single ball, I would have thought that I would be lower than that, but I guess the fact that I seemingly could not make a putt to save my life would end up costing me. Though I did look good doing it, as Anna was kind enough to recently gift me this Golden Knights golf bag, replacing that old one that I'd had for more than 20 years. I'd roll into Peppermill early, with the game full and starting at 9:30 a.m., which might be a record, and I would start tracking it on the Left Pocket app, which has a new live feature to showcase your session as it's happening. You can scan that QR code to get a free month. I'd start out losing about 100 to Mr. Z, who slow played a full house in a limped pot, and then we'd get a big pot early. And unfortunately for Adam Reno Grinder Bishop, he'd get sucked out on after getting all in with his set of 10s against pocket aces, and then an ace showing up. I'd find myself opening to 30, and I haven't done this in a while, cruising down the street in my 6-4. The cutoff would call, and the small blind would defend. So with 100 in, we're 3 ways to 5-5-7-1 heart. I bet out here for 50, obviously not being opposed to just taking it down now, but that doesn't happen. Cutoff calls, and the small blind would check fold. So with 200 in, we're heads up, and the turn would come a 3. So I'd make this straight, and I'd bet right out with it, putting in 100. Cutoff does not take long, and calls again. So with 400 in the pot, the river comes a deuce. Now obviously, I don't usually get this right. But when I would make this bet, my thought process was, I need to bet an amount that would get called by pocket eights, or obviously a hand like pocket eights, but that hand specifically did kind of enter my mind, so I put in 200, and I do indeed get snap called, creating an $800 pot, and he does show pocket eights. So we get on the scoreboard early, and I think we managed to value bet the proper amount. All right, let's do comp corner. Haven't done this in a while. See how I'm doing. Wait, first of all, what the hell is this gold nonsense? This card says platinum. And they've already knocked me down to gold. $117.93. Not as good as I'd like to be, but we'll take it. And I am no longer a platinum member. Unfortunately, that success was short-lived, as I had to lose basically every hand I'd play over the next 2 hours. None of them were very interesting, and I was basically back to square one. Though it would feel kind of good to find out that my Vegas Golden Knights would be playing in next year's Stadium Series in Dallas, though if you ask me, they should only be playing these outdoor hockey games in places where it might snow during the game. But that's just my opinion. So I won the hand with 6-4 suited, and now I would try to do the same thing with 5-4 suited. Hijack opens at 35, cutoff calls. I'm on the button, and I make the call as well. So we're three ways with 120 in the pot to ace, deuce, deuce, two clubs, giving me a gut shot, straight flush draw. Now, I'm not planning on going crazy here if I face a bet, but it does get checked to me. And I don't see how I can't take a shot at this pot here, even though I do only have 5 high. I bet 75. Hijack folds, but the cutoff calls. So with 270 in, the turn is the 7 of hearts. He checks. So what's my play here against a grinder? In this case, Reno Grinder himself. I figured he had to have some weak aces here that he didn't want to get married to for another bet. So with that in mind, I would make a $135 semi-bluff. And it then became pretty clear that he wasn't going to be showing up here with a weak ace as he makes the call once more. And with 540 in the river is the Queen of Hearts. Now he bets out, and bets out big. I have 5 high, and it looks to me like he has a monster, so yeah, fun spot. The next hour wasn't any better, losing 4 more small pots, and all of a sudden, I'd find myself adding on another $1,000. Mr. Z then raises to 75 over a straddle. I have pocket 5s, playing 1,500 effective and make this call. And to my surprise, no one else does. So with 175 in, we're heads up to 10-4-4 rainbow, and he bets out almost the entire pot, making it 150. If that smells weird to you, there's a reason. It did feel like I'm still going to be good here against a very aggressive legendary opponent like Mr. Z, but I just felt like I'd be fighting an uphill battle here with 5s. He's going to either put the absolute maximum amount of pressure on me, or obviously he's just going to have me, so I didn't want to get involved with this hand. I would throw them away, and he shows the skinny. Under the gun opens to 30, and it folds all the way around to me in the big blind, and I look down at pocket aces. I raise to just over 3x here, making it 95. And he doesn't take long before making the call. So, aces in a 3-bet heads-up pot with 195 in, and the flop is King, Queen, 4, with the King and Queen of diamonds. I'm first to act, and I bet 100. Under the gun thinks for only a few seconds, and he makes the call as I kind of expected. So with 395 in, the turn rolls off the 7 of hearts. I bet 215 here. And again, he doesn't take too long before making the call. And I should point out that this is not an opponent that's known to give me a lot of action. Now with 825 in, the river is another diamond. Being out of position here, I would check. Probably planning on calling a decent amount of river bets in all honesty, but not wanting to get way too involved on this river, knowing I could be facing a raise here. And after about 10 seconds, he would check it back. I would roll over the aces, and they were good. He would say to me, I didn't think you were folding if I turned my hand into a bluff. He very well might have been right. We would have had to do it to really find out that answer. But after I checked it back, I wasn't all that unhappy with my decision. Then I started thinking about it, and I'm pretty unhappy with what I did here, in all honesty. I think my decision was bad. The ace of diamonds, obviously in my hand, the queen of diamonds, and the king of diamonds are out there. So with that in mind, I don't know how many smaller flushes he's going to be showing up here with in a 3-bet pot. And if he does have one, he might not even raise me on the river. So I think I missed a definite opportunity to value bet that river. Not an opportunity that I think I'm known for missing, but in this case, I think I definitely make a mistake. So Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's obviously ridiculous. I actually think guys like him should be able to be in the Hall of Fame while they're still coaching. But he did have the cheating scandal, which I don't think was a big deal, but still cheating nonetheless. And as a guy who's worked his career in media, I absolutely hate the fact that Belichick, one of the most brilliant football minds of all time, would choose to treat the media with such disdain when they're just trying to do their jobs. Or on to Cincinnati. I also hate the fact that the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets were so incompetent for so many years, they just kind of spotted them the 1 seed all those times. So with all that in mind, Belichick obviously should be in the Hall of Fame, but the fact that he's not yet, I will acknowledge, is something I kind of love. The next orbit, ACES again. Under the gun limps. I make it 45 in middle position. Small blind calls and the limper calls. So with 145 in, the flop is 6-6-3 with 2 hearts. Gets checked to me and I bet 75. First player folds, but under the gun doesn't. So with 295 in, the turn is the 7 of hearts. He checks. Now, I'm going to bet here, knowing just how wide this opponent is capable of calling me on a lot of flops. But he doesn't call. I put in 125 and he check raises to 325. And this just feels like a terrible spot. I don't think this is the line he's going to use as a bluff. I'm likely drawing very, very slim in this spot to either trips or a flush, or even better than that. I would fold the hand. I thought I could get him to show. Unfortunately, he doesn't. But I think that was because he was disappointed that I got away from the hand and didn't pay him off. I feel a lot better about folding aces there than I do checking them back on the river in the other hand when I look back at both hands retrospectively. We would then get a guy facing a big all-in who would ask, if I call, can we run it twice? Other guy says yes. And it turns out they both have the nuts. Are we really living in a world where guys don't snap call with the nuts and they ask if we can run it twice before calling when their hand currently can't be beat? I'm just asking the question. That was weird. We would then get 2 limps. But as far as I'm concerned, limping is not pimping. Because I look down at pocket 10s in the small blind and raise to 60. Player in early position would limp call, as would the low jack. Button thinks about it for a minute, and he calls. So with 250 in, we're 4 ways to jack 9-4 rainbow. I think this flop is worth a stab, but not a huge one. I make it 80. Low jack is the player that I expected to get action from, and he is the player that I get action from. Other 2 go out, so with 410 in, we're heads up, and the turn's a queen. So I'm now open-ended. But needless to say, there are a lot of hands that beat me here, and a player that plays a lot of hands. So I check. He fires 200. With my open-ended straight draw, and what could be the best hand here, I'm definitely not folding for 200, so I put in those chips. And with 810 in, the river is a complete brick. I check. Kind of thinking he might bluff the river, and I'm really going to consider a call here. But he doesn't bet. He checks it back. He starts looking at my cards. He looks back at the board, looks at his cards, looks back at my cards, looks back at the board, and says, damn. He would muck his hand, and a pair of 10s would hold up in what would ultimately be the hand that changes this session from a losing one to a winning one, albeit not much of a win. Alright, so I'm not making the mistake that I made a couple of vlogs ago when I shot a vlog on a Thursday. I wanted to attend a workout and I decided to skip it and play longer, and things just went worse for me. Today I am leaving in time to make the workout, but I'm not leaving in a very impressive fashion, booking the smallest of wins, up $125 for this day here at Peppermill. Win with aces, lose with aces. You can get some big swings there. Ran an ill-advised, albeit small bluff on Mr. Z later on in the session that didn't work out, got called by ace high. So the games are tough, even when the games are good. And today was pretty good. It just feels like if I ever make a mistake in a game like this, it's gonna be hard to overcome it. And I kind of did that today, but barely. All right, coming back, it's the bye week between the championship games and the Super Bowl, and I gotta tell you, I don't think I have felt as confident about picking the Super Bowl from a betting perspective in the past decade. 10 years ago, I absolutely loved the Denver Broncos. They were getting 5.5 in that game against the Carolina Panthers. The game was at Levi Stadium, like this one is, and they ended up winning the game outright easily. Since then, haven't really had a pick on the Super Bowls that have taken place, but I love Seattle. The Seahawks have proven that they have the absolute best defense in the NFL. The Patriots have proven that they have had the easiest schedule in the NFL to get to this point. They could barely get past a Denver Broncos team without its starting quarterback last week. And while Ramondre Stevenson has been having a bit of a resurgence, and that's definitely a concern if you're looking at the Seahawks, I think that they've proven they can shut down the best of the best running backs, as we saw with Christian McCaffrey twice in a 3-week span. I've already talked on this section about my feelings on Sam Darnold. I wish he had been the quarterback for the 49ers in Super Bowl 58. I think they would have definitely won that game if he was. And he's basically been unbeatable the last couple of years. And while I'm not saying he's destined for the Hall of Fame, I do think that he is destined to win this game and win it relatively easily. Give me Seattle, lay the 4.5 points. I already have money on that pick. That'll wrap things up for this edition of the vlog. Hit those like and subscribe buttons if you are new to this channel. We should have a short coming out this week as well, so look for that here on this YouTube channel. You can also follow along on Instagram at bendeach. We'll see you back here next time.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gonna feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling.